Retro Now.
Today's episode is brought to you by our patrons over at Patreon. Special thanks to Christian, Kyle, the Cartoon Gamer, McCoy, Sir Zeke, Alex, Marie, Martin, Leslie, Marjorie, and Brian. Thank you so much to our patrons for helping support the show, and of course all of those patrons are getting access to our Creators Commentary series with Tom Ruger. If you're interested in becoming a patron, head on over to patreon.com/Animaniacast today. And welcome everybody once again to a special episode of the Animaniacast. Welcome once again to the Animaniacast. This is the podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows in the Rugerverse, such as Tiny Toon Adventures, Pinky and the Brain, and Freakazoid. And today we are going to be summarizing our thoughts and impressions on Season 1 of the Animaniacs Reboot. I am Joey, and joining me once again are my co-hosts. There's my brother Nathan. Reboot! And across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hello.
And Kelly is here once again with a horrible headache, unfortunately.
If y'all have like really good home remedies for science headaches, please do share, because I've tried everything, I think.
Okay, Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS at Twitter.
Except for surgery. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, not doing the surgery, but if there's, I don't know, maybe something honey and lemon based or something, I don't know, something doable, right? I don't know.
I've tried that in tea.
Well,
I drink a lot of hot tea, so.
So that's, we've already tried that, folks. So anyway, perhaps a discussion about the Animaniacs reboot will help to take, right? Maybe?
Sure.
Why not? Today, yes, we're going to be going through our thoughts about the Animaniacs reboot, and all in all, it was I don't know, it was pretty good. It had its ups and downs, that's for sure. If someone were to ask you what you thought about the reboot in just a few words, all in all, what would you tell them, Nathan?
They were so concerned about whether they should make a reboot. I already messed it up.
I know where you're going.
They were so concerned about whether they could make a reboot, they didn't ask themselves if they should make a reboot.
Yes. Thank you, Malcolm.
I see what you did there.
And Kelly, what about you?
I'm ashamed I didn't come up with that myself. It was short. I mean, it was only 13 episodes. So
It's like Stanler and Waldorf.
Yeah. It was short. We liked it.
We loved it.
It was dumb. It was obvious. It was pointless. It was short. I loved it.
Yes. Yeah. So, hopefully I know that some folks, if you've been listening to our podcast all these several weeks, I think there's no mystery or anything that we obviously prefer the original to the reboot, and we had some major issues with the reboot, but we don't have any issues with anybody who does like the reboot or anything like that. If anything, I'm like, well, that's good.
Yeah, I'm glad. Like, if there are people that like it, like, that's great news. Like,
yeah. I think above all, whether we're going to be sharing some of our opinions and some of the opinions of our, some of the people who wrote in. But if they are not what you think, then that's okay. We're not one of those podcasts, and I think most people realize this who have been listening to us for a while, is that we're not the type of people that like to shame somebody who doesn't believe the same thing that we do or think the same way.
Yeah, there was some Star Wars podcast drama in the Twitter world yesterday. So
great, some more. It always seems like it's always gone, and then all of a sudden it springs up again for the dumbest reasons.
I don't have time to listen to a lot of podcasts, so I don't hardly ever know what's going on, but I just catch like these little glimpses into stuff and think, oh, that's a lot of drama in that world.
Every podcast that I listen to, every Star Wars podcast that I listen to stays away from that drama, which
that's good. Yeah, I'm sure the majority are fine, but some of them just whew.
Well, we've obviously touched on some of the I guess you could call it drama or something. I don't know, but at any rate, we try very hard not to. I mean, above all, while we may have issues with how certain characters were portrayed in the series or decisions that were made about the presentation of this show, we don't have any issues with the artists or the writers or anything like that who are working on it. I think they're all very, very talented people.
Oh, yes. Better than anything we could do, I'm sure. I mean,
absolutely.
There's like no like.
I think there is a mindset, though, somewhere on the chain of command, most likely up on the top, from some executives, I'm assuming in Warner Brothers or something, that would say this is what we need a reboot of Animaniacs to be, for whatever reason. One of those I know. The only thing I could quote unquote, if I was going to place blame of any one specific thing, unfortunately, would probably
don't
be
do it.
The political thing, the aspect that a lot of people are upset about in a lot of our comments later in the show.
About Trump?
Yeah, just about, Trump and other like gun control and stuff like that. While the issues themselves may not have been picked out by him, Wellesley Wild and Gabe Swar said that Mr. Spielberg was the one that told them to do it.
To do more. He wanted more political stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
More shadows, more politics.
Mess.
Wait, not dark lines.
So, yes.
Inner lines. Yeah.
At any rate, what we're going to do to start things off is we're just kind of going to go through the episodes, and we're not going to get through a deep discussion of each one, but I figure what would be kind of fun is if I go over the synopsis of the episode and then say what the segments were, and then just give a one or maybe two.
I got one word for everyone.
Okay, a one-word thought about the episode. If you could summarize the episode in a word or two, what would you say? Okay, so let's go ahead and start off right here with episode 1 of the reboot. Episode 1 had Jurassic Lark and Suspended Animation Part 1 and 2, and it had Of Mice and Memes, and the description on Hulu said, the Warner Brothers and Warner Sister return, and Brain's meme fails to achieve world domination. So, Nathan, what is your one-word description?
Reboot.
Okay. Kelly, do you have a word?
Spielberg.
Very good. And of course, and I just put, okay. Episode 2 of the reboot right here had Warner's Unbound, How to Brain Your Dragon, and Suffragette City, where the Warners vacation in ancient Greece, and Pinky and the Brain try to use a dragon to rule the world. And of course, they don't put it on the Hulu description, but Dot sings about cartoon rights.
The dragon.
I think that's Kelly's word.
The dragon?
Oh, yeah, sure, you can use that.
Okay, the dragon. We're just going to count it one time. The dragon. Okay. And Nathan, what's your word?
Unhistorical.
Unhistorical. I wrote miscast. Episode 3. Let's see here. Episode 3, putting down the thing. Episode 3 was Gold Medlars, Pinko and the Brain, and Masterpiece Theater. And it was the Warners competing in a game of skill. Brain gets busted while time traveling, and Dot gives a dramatic math lesson. Let's see. I don't remember him time traveling in this. What was the?
No, I didn't. Well, I mean, he was back in the '60s, so I guess he time traveled to the '60s or whatever.
Yeah, that is the worst description. Pinko and the Brainhead.
That's what I was like. Am I getting the wrong thing?
No, but that's what they put. Yeah, that's not right. In 1950, this is better on the Wikipedia. In 1953, Brain disguises himself as a politician and attempts to blackmail all the others to ensure he's the remaining. And there's zero time travel. Hulu. Oh, yoy. Nathan, what do you have for your one-word description?
Winning.
Okay. Kelly, what would you say about this episode?
Bronze medal.
Okay. Bronze medal. And I was mean. I put laughless.
Lauren Laughless.
No, she's in a few episodes.
Oh, that's gonna be your word for that one.
Darn it! I should have kept it in. All right. Well, number four had Bun Control, Ex Mousina, and Broomf. And that was the Warners fighting a rabbit infestation, and Brain's robot son turns on him, and then a new app is born. Nathan, what do you say?
I wrote gross because that was the first thing I remember that.
It's the first thing that came to mind. Gross.
Yeah.
Kelly, what about you?
Annoying.
I wrote something kind of similar to you. This is my 1-2-word description. Oh, please. Is what I wrote. Okay. Number 4, episode 4. I'm sorry, we just did episode 4. Episode 5. No, let's do it again. Episode 5. Oh, boy. Good Warner Hunting. No Brainer and Ralph Cam. So this was the Warners are stalked by a hunter. Pinky and the Brain break into the NSA, and then Ralph falls asleep. Nathan, what do you think?
I wrote controversial.
All right. Kelly?
Gaston.
And I wrote upsetting. It is very... I'm still upset by that episode. All right. The Cutening. Episode 6 had The Cutening, Close Encounters of the Worst Kind, and Equal Time. So this one was Dot discovers a recipe for cuteness, aliens don't share, Brain's goals, and odd political ads. Nathan, what do you think?
I wrote catchy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking I should have wrote earworm, but...
Okay. Kelly, what about you?
Hawaii.
Ooh, and I wrote gross. Because, yeah, it did have cute, but it also did have gross. All right, let's go to episode 7. Warner, she wrote, France Revolution, and Gift Wrapper. The Warners hunt down a donut. I'm sorry, not that one. The Warners investigate a dog napping, and they accidentally start the French Revolution. Yakko channels Shakespeare to save hip-hop. All right, Nathan, what do you think?
No brain.
It's true. No brain. Well, very little brain.
A little bit, not enough.
Kelly, what do you think?
Oh, this episode is so all over the place, it's hard to come up with a single word. French.
It's all French to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say disappointing for that one. Sums it up. Episode 8. Episode 8 was Who Donut? And the Manchurian Candidate, and Starbucks and Cindy. So the Warners hunt a donut thief. Brain creates a perfect FLOTUS, and Starbucks fails to escape Cindy's adoring grasp. Nathan, what do you say?
I put upsetting.
Okay. Yeah. Kelly, what about you?
Divisive.
And I wrote wrong. It's just wrong.
You use strong words.
We did not like this one very much. Okay.
Episode 9, Here Comes Treble. That's Not the Issue. Future Brain and the Incredible Gnome in People's Mouths. So the Warners butt heads with a conductor and a talk show host. Brain is humbled by his future self, and Marcia has a gnome in her mouth. Nathan, what do you say?
I put interesting.
Okay. Kelly, what do you think? What do you say?
Gnome, really?
And I wrote almost. Episode 10. Episode 10 was Animaniacs, Babysitter's Flub, and the Warners press conference. Let's see. The Warners discover an unauthorized version of their show in Russia. Brain battles a toddler for a meteorite, and also a press conference. Nathan.
I put political, even though it's not that political.
Kelly.
Kindergarten brain.
And I wrote a word that I really don't like to use that much, but I just wrote meh. All right. Episode 11. Episode 11 was Phantomaniacs, Fear and Laughter in Burbank, The Bride of Pinky, and Things That Go Bump in the Night. So Halloween in Burbank, the Warners haunt a television and encounter a scary clown. Brain frightens a whole village into submission, and spooky monsters get claustrophobic. So Nathan, what do you think?
I wrote spooky.
Kelly?
Scaredy clown.
And I just wrote good. All right.
Like clown.
All right. Getting towards the end here. Episode 12. Episode 12 had A Zit, 1001 Narfs, and Manny Manspreader. So this was the inner life of a pimple, which that is a bad description of that song. Pinky and the Brain entertain a sultana, and a man lacks a sense of personal space. Nathan, what do you say?
I wrote Moby Dick. That was the theme of all of them.
Okay. Kelly?
Thank you, next.
And I kind of wrote the same thing as you. Just, well, in a sense, boring. That's meh. But I shouldn't say meh so much, but it sometimes fits for the season. Finally, episode 13. Hindenburg Cola, Rodent Trip, and Flotus Flotus, What Do You Know About Us? All right, so the Warners go on a quest for Dr. Scratch and Sniff. Brain builds a driverless car, and Dot sings about all the first ladies. And they should have put in parentheses, sort of.
Except one.
Except one that they forgot. And at any rate, Nathan, what do you say?
Disappointing.
All right, Kelly.
Austelbergian.
Okay, and it was. And I wrote unremarkable. So there you go. So, wow. I think over our words, they're. I'm looking at my list. I'm a little upset at myself for being a little too hard, but those are just the one-word things that come to mind when I think of the episode. So I think episode 11 was, I think we could probably go to our favorite episode, as long as we're just talking about the episodes in whole. My favorite episode was episode 11.
Yeah, same.
Same. Kelly, which one was your favorite episode?
Like with all of
the whole season. If you had to pick one and say this is
I
the
can
best
tell
one.
you which one you said was the best one.
Ooh.
that was a segment, though.
Well, you gave a whole episode.
Oh, I know which one she gave the best rating to, I think.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember. I'm going back through, and which one did I give my best? Was it number 13?
No, It was episode 1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
because of Jurassic Park.
Yep, I think so.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stick with that.
It overpowered the entire episode for Kelly, and it just made it a 4 or a 5 for her?
It was a 5.
A 5!
Mhm.
Well, it actually had Spielberg in it, and the music, and John Williams, and the dinosaur.
Dino DNA. Well, okay, let's talk about what if you had to pick an episode and say this was the worst episode. Worst episode.
I can tell you which ones you guys said was.
Well, I think I know. Even though there were two.
12 was pretty bad.
Say it again.
Number 12 was pretty bad.
Oh, the
Sit and the man spreading. I mean,
Yeah, that's not what you gave the worst score to.
I can tell you that I think episode 5 was the worst, just because of the way that I like I said before, I never had an episode that I started to like so much and then hated so much. So I think it's just because of the way that the imbalance of my feelings of it made me really, I think I hate it the most. If I picked one episode that I thought, oh God, no, it's episode 5 with Good Warner hunting. That really hurt it.
Well,
what do you think?
I'm going to go with what I rated, which was Starbucks and Cindy and Who Donut, but mostly because of Mouse Cheerian Candidate. Gave it 1.5.
Yeah, that is a pretty.
That was hard for me to watch. Joey, the worst one you gave was same as Kelly, was episode 7. Warner She Wrote, France Revolution, and Gift Wrapper.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I take it back, I suppose.
Just so you two know, that was what you, at the time, like Kelly, I think you gave it a 1.
oh my goodness.
And Joey a 1.5.
Wow.
I don't remember hating it that much.
Probably had a headache or something.
I probably did.
But also, it just didn't have any Pinky in the Brain, so that really hurt that episode.
Yeah, I think I just it's some of these episodes were like something like that. It was just.
It wasn't just like so bad. Like it wasn't anything that was necessarily bad about it. It just wasn't like it never got good enough to like get it over the hump. I
It's
guess
hard to rate these when we had. I mean, because I didn't watch the whole season.
Yeah, I had seen the whole thing. So after going through rating these, I was like, I know it doesn't get much better than this.
Right. So you knew exactly. And for us, we were just kind of watching it as we went. I mean, we had seen some of them in the press release stuff, but that was just a handful.
I tried to rate them on their own merit, not like in comparison to other episodes.
Yeah, exactly. And I tried to, whenever I was going through mine, I was also trying to rate them based upon just not even necessarily comparing them to the original series, but just trying to just say as a cartoon itself.
Yeah, I tried to rate it against the first episode. That's why I gave the first episode 3, and then I'd be like, is it better than the first episode or worse than the first episode? And then that's always, so that was my ratings throughout.
Yeah. Well, let's go. I'm sorry, Kelly. Did you go through? Did she actually say her the least favorite one?
I thought she said 12.
Okay.
A zit.
Does it?
One
Yes.
nice.
Yeah. I mean, that one was pretty bad.
All right.
It was yucky. I don't like yucky.
Well, let's go ahead and go over our favorite, like just the favorite segment of the Warners and Pinky and the Brain, and our least favorite segment of the Warners and Pinky and the Brain. Let's end on a positive note. Let's go on our least favorite segment of the Warners and our least favorite segment of Pinky and the Brain, and then the best Warners segment and the best Pinky and the Brain segment. Okay?
Okay.
So yeah, let's end on positive. So Nathan, what do you think? What's the least? What's the? I should probably just put it the correct way. What is the worst segment?
My least favorite one. These are all my favorites, but my least favorite is probably Suffragette City.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I will be fine if I never listen to that again. So, or watch it. Like, didn't enjoy it. The other ones, even the like controversial ones, I'm like, well, at least I get to see that character. But like that one, there was nothing in it for me. I don't know. Yeah, I'm happy you never seen that again.
I think they were trying to just appeal to people who liked cartoon cameos, and that doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I want more. Sorry.
Yeah. Kelly, what was your least favorite Warner's segment?
I'm trying to decide between the Zit and Bun Control, but probably the Zit.
Probably Zit. I gotta go. No surprises is Good Warner Hunting. Like that, just like I said, started off so great and then ended so infuriating to me. So I was like, to heck with this and this show and everything. And I threw a TV out the window. Oh, it was horrible.
But they were all okay at the end.
Yeah, but it wasn't about that. It was about the fact that I just thought as a major insult towards the original series, and that the mindset I could, and maybe it's just all my interpretation. And I've talked to people who work on the show, and they say this is not true. But I mean, come on. How could you put something out like that? And I did not like it. It just really upset me. Okay, least favorite Pinky and the Brain. What do you got, Nathan?
Oh, Mouse cheering candidate.
Yeah, not cool with Julia or for Brain.
I mean, I think she will be a cool. I'm hoping she comes back and she's much cooler in the next episode. But yeah, I didn't like the way she was treated. So
yeah, Kelly, what do you think?
I'd probably have to say the Manchurian Candidate too.
Yeah, it's a triple agreement on that one right there.
I thought one of you might say 1001 Narfs, but
that was just boring. It wasn't upsetting.
I know. I was like, I could put it on. Like, I'm not going to be upset while watching it. So
yeah, exactly. Well, that's something that I could just put. I could see like you put that on for kids to watch and just hopefully keep them entertained for a little bit.
Yeah,
while you're doing something. But Manchurian Candidate. Yeah, that was just really a betrayal of who the Brain was, and no, not cool, not cool. All right, let's go in and get to the stuff we did think was cool, though. Let's get to the stuff the best segment of the Warners, the whole thing. What do you think?
I think we should also pick our best segment of the miscellaneous. Since there's only 3 of those.
That's true. It should be pretty easy.
We can pick just our best. Let's not worry about our worst one.
All right, best of those 3, I guess, was the gnome for me. The gnome in people's mouths.
That was your favorite?
Yeah.
Of the 3? Well, there's between that
and
Starbucks, Cindy,
and the eyes, right?
And Things That Go Bump in the Night. Those are the only 3 that have no Pinky in the Brain or Warner's in him.
So I'm going with the gnome because sometimes yelling is funny. And I mean, it wasn't funny, but it was.
This is your favorite. You like that. You loved it. So yeah. Kelly, did you have a favorite of those 3?
I'm not judging you, except I am. I guess Starbucks and Cindy. I mean, at least the music was kind of cool, like the theme song kind of thing, and the stream of consciousness from the kid was hilarious.
Yeah, the little girl was cute. I'm gonna also go with Starbucks and Cindy. So.
Okay, alrighty. Well, now let's do the favorite Pinky and the Brain, or I'm sorry, favorite Warner's one first. What do you got, Nathan?
Well, Jurassic Lark.
Good answer.
Kelly, what do you think?
Jurassic Lark.
Oh, all right. I'm going to go Fear and Loathing and not Fear and Loathing, Fear and Laughter in Burbank. Just because that was, I think, some of the closest that it got to the normal Warner segment. Yeah. Even though Yakko was not very Yakko-ish, it was still like, okay, this is close. So I went for it. A lot of these things really, and I know we talked about it a lot of times throughout the season. It really kind of felt like we're reading the comic books sometimes, in that it's like, okay, this is something like Animaniacs, but it wasn't really Animaniacs. But you're like, it's close. It's something, and I could see being turned into a cartoon, and then it did, and it didn't quite work.
Fine. Yeah,
yeah. But let's go ahead and talk about we have a lot of
our favorite
feedback.
Pinky and the Brains.
Oh, duh. Let's get to that. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'll just start because I'm taking too much time. I will say favorite Pinky and the Brain is now I forgot it. It was How to Brain Your Dragon. I like that one. All right, Nathan, what do you think?
I'll say Future Brain, just because I thought that Future Brain was pretty funny.
Okay. And Kelly?
Rodent Trip.
Rodent Trip. Wow, for Spielberg references, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say that one, but I'm like, I bet Kelly will say that for it. So.
Yeah, that was very.
I was like, I couldn't decide between. Well, I couldn't decide between Future Brain and Rodent
I'm
Trip.
a little bit predictable.
It's like, as long as Kelly says it, I'll be happy.
Well, let's go ahead and we have a lot of listener feedback to get to, and people who have responded to us through email and social media and everything, and hopefully we'll get through them all. And honestly, we also might have a bunch of emails that may be lost forever, perhaps, because our Retro Zap email had some problems just last night when I was getting a lot of emails. So hopefully those still come through. But if we did not read your response and you know that you sent it to animaniacast@retrozap.com, maybe try resending that email to animaniacast@gmail.com. And next time we record, we just might read what you thought of season 1 of the reboot. But before we get to all of that, let's just talk about some of the things that we hope we see in the upcoming season. We have 2 seasons of the reboot still coming out. Season 2 is being scored right now, and season 3 they're already starting to record dialogue for right now, which is cool. So they're still moving. But what are you hoping to see in the future of this series? Nathan, what do you think?
Good idea, bad idea. We got mime time. We know the mimes, they've got a character model for them. You can bring them in.
Yeah.
I saw them on top of the Olympics.
So you want good idea, bad idea, or mime time coming back?
Sure. I don't know.
All right. I was not expecting you to say that, but all right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I want lots of comedy and funny things. And I also want educational songs, I guess, is also something I really want.
Yes. Kelly, what do you think?
I'd like more Spielberg.
Oh, yes.
And I also would like educational songs. That was one of my things that I loved about the original. And then I think it would be cool if they leaned a little more heavily on like classic comedy, sort of like the original did. It's more timeless, like who's on first kind of thing with Woodstock Slappy. That it's been done to death, but it's funny. It endures. And rather than trying to stay edgy and modern humor, timeless humor and things with a fresh take on it.
Yeah, take on a graphic novel, like a classic novel or something.
Yeah. And I'd like to see the Randy Beeman kid.
Oh yeah, Get Colin
and bring back
in there.
Bring back Colin Wells. What's his name?
That's Colin Wells. Well, of course, his son might be the better one to be cast.
No.
You want actually adult Colin Wells. One day, Randy Beeman. Let's see. I would say I agree with everything you two said. I mean, it definitely we need to have more timeless stuff going on. I know a lot of people are like in our comments and stuff. They're like, it was too political. Too political was something that came up a lot, and it was way too political. And the original series was not political. Honestly,
hardly,
really at all.
We had,
there's a handful of like quick little, not inconsequential jokes. That
Rita
would happen.
and Runt episode where what's the guy with the big ears? Ross
Perot. But you couldn't even tell it was Ross Perot. It was something where it was like if you knew it was Ross Perot, it was Ross Perot. But if you didn't know, it's just some guy in Alaska talking like a Texan, and so that was it. So I mean. There's some people that say, well, I hope they go after both sides like they used to do. And I'm thinking to myself, gosh, I don't remember them going after both sides, quote unquote, in the original show because I don't remember it being political to any degree. So some people are like, I hope they go after Biden next. And I'm like,
well, they also wouldn't have time to go after, like, because it would have to be season 3 would be the soonest they can go after Biden.
Exactly.
Like,
so that's why it shouldn't be political. And I'm sorry for people who like to say that that Bill Clinton playing the sax was an example of that. And no, it's not, because that was just him. That was just a pop culture moment when he was on a talk show while running for president. So, and it was made up by Nate Ruger, who was a kid at the time. I think when just Tom was trying to come up with, variable verses and stuff like that, and his son came up with that. So, zero political agenda.
And they even removed it after.
I know, and then it just went away after Bill Clinton was getting out of office.
Tons of income tax.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if anybody was actually made fun of politically, I think a couple times, more in the Pinky and the Brain spinoff, but I think Newt Gingrich might have been made fun of a few times, because let's face it, it's funnier to make fun of people like Newt Gingrich and Donald Trump than it is to be made fun of some people like Joe Biden or something like that. It's just that you have to look at the personality of the person that you're making fun of, and then kind of go from there, I suppose, more than the political thing. But at any rate, I don't know. I don't know what to expect when it comes to political stuff. I hope they don't do it as much, though, because it's all people seem to focus on one way or another, and they're not focusing on just the simple zaniness of the show. So anyway, and the other stuff you guys said. Educational songs, stuff like that.
Blah blah blah.
Totally into that. Let's go over real quick some of the things that we do know, though, that some of that stuff should be appearing in the next season or so. I went through a lot of the previous emails and discussions that we've had with people that are working behind the scenes, whether that's in animation. I think a lot of them were in the animation department, but so they got to see some of the stuff as it was going on. But we know, at least at one point, remember that we were told that there would be a new good idea, bad idea hype segment. I honestly forget, because it was just told to us verbally what it was called. I know the cast member that's narrating it, but that's not that important. Honestly, I don't know if it's gotten past the the storyboarding stage. I don't know if it'll be done, but we were told about it.
Hopefully, yeah, and that's good, because we need more, because there's only 3 segments that weren't. Yeah,
the formula of Warner's Pinky and the Brain and Warner's, I think, would be beneficial to break that up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, those are going to be your strongest episodes, but you need to
yeah.
Typically, those are my favorite episodes. But if every episode is like that,
on the original series, they definitely were. But now they figured that formula would just automatically work for this series, and it didn't work that way. Okay, there was a song that was played in Animaniacs in concert that I thought was just remarkable and fantastic, and I was totally waiting to see it in this first season. And I don't know the title of it, but it's about things that get, the smaller, the things small.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of the universe.
Yes.
Getting,
how things are so big and big.
Yeah, but we could just keep zooming in instead of keep zooming out.
Exactly. So Randy Rogel wrote this song, and it performs it at Animaniacs in concert with Rob. And it is just a fantastic song. Just really akin to anything that you've heard before in the past. I think it might be called It Don't Get Smaller Than That, because that's the chorus that they repeat over and over. Where's that? I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. And they also did do a skit kind of in the vein of Who's on First, right? With Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs in concert. Let's see, what was that about? I'm just doing this off the top of my head. It was... it was the Brain was trying to tell Pinky about something, and is this ringing any bells for you too? Vaguely, yeah. They did a Who's on First. Nathan's shaking his head no, so apparently it wasn't that memorable. But that classic comedy stuff, I mean, should appear. It wasn't as good as Woodstock Slappy, so. that's probably why he doesn't
That's
remember it.
Slappy is amazing.
Yeah. Let's see here. I went back to one of the emails that we had from somebody who's working on the show, and they said this. This is stuff to expect on the show. Historical sketches and songs from the Cold War to ancient Rome. Some of the stuff might be he might be referring. Some of the stuff they might be referring to stuff that's in season 1, but I'm not sure. So to King John of England and the Magna Carta, we did not see that in season 1. So therefore, we can have to say it's got to be in season 2, right? Right? And Christopher Columbus. So a sketch and a song, perhaps, about Christopher Columbus. Again, cool.
We may have seen the Cold War in ancient Rome.
Yeah, Cold War
possible.
in ancient Rome. That might be in season 1 with some of that. Which, I hope that they do it better if it's in season 2. And also, we've heard we were talking about how people say that the season 2 is better than the first season.
Yeah, we've heard that a couple times.
And I had to look at one of the emails here, and it said specifically Steven, as in Steven Spielberg, is absolutely loving the second season, and he's really pumped about how the show is turning out.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah. I bet it's really political.
Oh, no. He's loving it.
I know he gets pretty. He's political in real life. I mean, he donates to campaigns and things like that.
Yeah, it'd just be funny because that was his one note that
his movies are, but the cartoons he does have never historically been all that. I don't know. I was talking to my dad the other day about Bible. And I'm like, this is a movie about an immigrant who comes to America and, wants to live a better life. And, people could view that as political, I guess. Spielberg kind of came up with the story and named Bible. So, maybe some of that does bleed into animation. It depends on what you decide is political.
Yeah.
Obviously a parody of Trump. Is that political? Or is it just making fun of a celebrity figure?
Yeah, if he was never president, then it wouldn't be political.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's a personality. And that's what I'm saying. Before when it comes to like like who you're going to pick on politically. Part of it is could be part political agenda of those who are making it, who disagree with those political figures, right? But also it's easy to make comedy when the person that you're making fun of has a outlandish personality, and Trump certainly was.
Dana Carvey did George Bush.
Yeah.
In the day. I had no idea what Bush's politics were. I didn't follow. I didn't care. I was a kid. But his depiction of him was hilarious.
And it wasn't even like really hit.
I know, and that's the thing. It started off so reserved, but eventually he just turned in from "not gonna die" to
which is like something he
gonna die.
I think did George Bush even ever say "not gonna do it"? Like
I don't even think so.
I don't think so. I think it's just something that Dana Carvey started saying, and then.
But it
was funny.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the thing. That's all people really cared about. So honestly, above all, that should be funny. A lot of people I know online, before we get to our comments and stuff about what people want to see and what they thought about season 1, I'm going to reach out to some of our folks who work on the show and secretly ask them, hey, is Slappy Squirrel coming back? Is stuff like that, because I think there's a lot of false hope. I'm really pessimistic about Slappy or any of the classic characters coming back.
I never expected them to be involved.
That's the thing. But there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, in season 2 or in season 3, they'll come back." I really hate to say it, but they're not coming back. Especially because this is done. You have a successful. You look at the numbers that Hulu had. Forget the story. Forget anything like that. Just look at the numbers that this show did. Right? It had great numbers of being a successful streaming show. Why would you
change the formula?
Want to change that formula? Exactly. Why would you? And of course, we would love to see Tom have some role on the show. But number one, I don't even know if Tom would necessarily want to be on the show, because imagine having a party that you're not invited to the party, and then all of a sudden
couldn't plan the party at all.
Couldn't
Yeah,
plan
exactly.
this party, and then all of a sudden, about like a few hours
As the
into
party's
this
over,
party,
yeah, there's an hour left. Come on over.
come on over and help us run some party. It's
help us clean it up.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to? So, but it's the same thing with these other characters. It's like I think they've said they've showed what they're going to do with this season. They want to introduce new characters. They want to do different variety stuff, which may or may not work. But don't expect to see the Goodfeathers as much as I want to see the Goodfeathers, as much as I really want to see Slappy and Skippy return. I have zero hope that they're going to be on, because I think, honestly, I'll reach out, and if I'm wrong, then I will let people know, and it'll be great news. But I really don't think it's going to happen, which stinks. But
even if it does, I mean, people still won't be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people might, and some people won't. But it's like we've talked before, but it'll be like Star Wars. It's like, okay, well, you brought Han and Leia and everybody back, yay! The original actors.
But you didn't do it right, yeah.
But Luke wouldn't have done that. Luke wouldn't behave like that. Why did you do that to Luke? Like,
yeah.
Can't believe you did that to Han. I mean, I'm still upset about what happened to Han. Don't go there. But I don't hate the movies, and I don't hate what they did. I mean, they made the story that they made, and they chose to do it, and you either accept it or don't. And so, but there's always a risk when you bring back beloved characters, but not in the identical way. The animation is a little different. The voices might be different. The personalities might be different. And then you have to ask yourself, is this really what I wanted?
Bingo. Yeah, and that's the thing. When Slappy Squirrel comes back, are we really expecting her to quote unquote be allowed to act the same way? Times have changed, so and the way that cartoon violence is portrayed has changed. Honestly, I think that would be. I mean, you look at some of the later episodes of the original series where you had like, what was the character's name? Reef Blunt, the senator who was trying to get her to not be so violent and everything. I mean, that's like a real thing going on with cartoons, how they're being made, and I would not expect Slappy to be the same, and therefore, do we really want her back on this show? I don't know. Well, that's just something to keep in mind. And like I said, I'll look into it, and I'll hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm not too hopeful. Well, let's go and get to some of the listener emails and everything. And we wanted to make sure we got to definitely the Patreon. We have patreon.com/Animaniacast. If you ever want to get to the very top of our list of feedback, well, become a patron, because then not only are you going to be able to be read first, but you'll get access to some of our Animaniacs commentaries with Tom Ruger. So, and they've been super fun. So check that out, and patreon.com/Animaniacast is the place to go. Let's see. Kelly, do you have this up? Do you want to read what Brian said right here from our Patreon?
So Brian said, I thought season 1 was genius and thoroughly enjoyed every episode. Season 1 concentrates a lot on the Warners and their origin. This would later set up the introduction of the other characters on the show. Okay.
Well, and that, like I said, I don't know if that means he's thinking that the original characters on the show are going to come back, but it certainly did set up the introduce Starbucks and Cindy and the gnome and who knows, those
I think they'll start introducing other new characters as well.
Yeah,
I would think
definitely. Okay, there's one here from Marty. Marty says, good evening, Joey, Nathan, and Kelly. I saw the opportunity to share thoughts on season 1 of the reboot, and I figured I'd jump at the chance to provide what perhaps could be a different perspective. I have a long take, which may also provide context for the short take. So here we go. The long take, season 1 is great. It reunited some shows that hadn't really thought about for almost 20 years. Tiny Toons, Animaniacs, Pinky the Brain were all staples of our childhood. But then, of course, our viewing habits change with age, and I pretty much forgot about the show. And I'm not kidding. He says, like, for example, he says, who are the characters of Animaniacs? He might say, Wacko, Yakko, and Dot, and he would totally forget about Slappy and the Goodfeathers and stuff like that. But then after I seeing the promos for the reboot popping up on the Facebook feed, and it says likely cleverly placed by an algorithm based on my age and demographics, absolutely. A week or two before November 20th, those little 10-second snippets featuring Yakko, Wacko, and Dot were enough, however, to get me to go, oh yeah, we used to watch those guys when we were kids. I got to tune into this and check it out. So when November 20th came, I settled in for the usual Friday night routine of TV and carry-out pizza and started to watching the show. It was good enough to grab my attention, so going at a pace of maybe 2 episodes a night, I made it through the whole first season within a week or so. And then I was like, that was pretty cool. I wonder if the original series is on too. And sure enough, it was. So, going at the same pace of a couple episodes a night, I started watching the original series too. And when I was really blown away at what I had forgotten all about, and how much of it probably flew miles over my head as a kid, with the jokes and the songs and the pop culture references and the satire, it was delightful. It was irreverent and cute, and at the same time, it was also so clever and witty. It checked all the right boxes. After making it through the whole original series, only then could I start to recognize the differences between the original and the reboot. By that point, I had found that and started listening to the Animanicast. Hey. Even when I went back and rewatched season 1 of the reboot again, so I could better pick up the differences between it and the OG. With that said, here are my short takes. Okay, Warner's and the Pinky the Brain look great. He totally agrees that the human designs are not so great, and he noticed that there was the Spumco Ren and Stimpy look, which was off-putting, and then there was a lot of gross stuff like that were very Ren and Stimpy-esque he didn't like. Something he didn't notice, but when watching the original series, and it was mentioned on the podcast, was like, yeah, I see what they mean, was when the Warners being their own targets, like Dot whacking her brothers with a mallet less a minute after the opening theme of the first episode, or just being the butt of each other's jokes at various points in the seasons. It's definitely a direction I wish they hadn't gone. Along the same lines, and there's been too much mentioned on the show, I agree that they missed the mark a bit on the brain. In the original series and the spin-off, the sense was almost omnipresent that the brain wished to take over the world with good intentions, that he felt that he could do better than the world leaders of the day. Now it almost as if he had become that which he once abhorred. This is some good vocabulary right here, Marty. Perhaps a differing viewpoint here. I'm not as disappointed with the decision to not work in any other characters other than the brief non-speaking cameo in Good Warner Hunting. In some ways, it could be from a perspective of, do we trust them to bring back the original characters and have us go, yup, tastes like the real thing, without having a funny bit of aftertaste to it? Exactly what Kelly was saying right there with the, are they really acting the same way? So, and he goes on to say that, you know, he could do without seeing Mindy and Buttons again in a reboot, although characters like Goodfeathers or Slappy and Skippy might be good. The final point, to me, the original series was ostensibly written to be a kid's show, but they worked in enough fun jokes and references that it ended up having a broader appeal. Then it seemed to me that the reboot almost had the feel of an adult cartoon along the lines of Simpsons or Family Guy, and then they dialed down the adult humor to make it acceptable for a general audience. Maybe that's exactly what they had to do in order to find a lost viewer like I was and bring me back to the fold. However, they did it, and it worked. Not only am I fully enjoying reunification of the original series, I'm looking forward to the new episodes and hoping that they'll be quote-unquote better, as we've been heard the rumor to be. And he also says, by the way, I'm afraid to review my bank statements from the past couple months to see how much money I've spent on various Animaniacs toys and merchandise, both new and the vintage stuff from eBay, because it was all the cool stuff he never had as a kid. Love the show. Take care, Marty. Yeah, it was a longer email, but I thought, you know what? Not only is Marty a patron, so I'll read. I'll read what you have to say.
But very well thought out too.
Yeah,
Just
a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff there, Marty. All right. Let's see, Nathan. I had to save this email from you. This is from Gray Rainbow.
That's nice.
What did Gray Rainbow say?
So Gray Rainbow says, I was 3 years old when I started watching Animaniacs. It was so zany to the max. Heart, eyes, face, shocked face, smiley face, yummy face. So I'm a big fan of it. I'm 13 now and I still love it, but the reboot was terrible to me. Almost all the main cast is gone. It feels empty, and then it's like the upset, angry face, and then a sad, angry, frowny face. I feel they don't understand the characters. It's like they want a variety show, but had to force it in these characters. Yakko is my favorite, and he now makes dad jokes. Upset, frowny face. He's not funny anymore, to me at least. I always laughed at Yakko's jokes in the original. Also, the 8th episode is not Animaniacs. It's just sickening and uncomfortable to watch. Upset face, sick face, puking face, angry frowny face. It's sad for me. This was the first cartoon I ever watched. This reboot is not funny or zany to the max. Frowny face, mad frowny face. Hope season 2 or 3 is better. I'm an optimistic gal. Heart face. By the way, your podcast is so amazing. Oh, by the way, your podcast is so amazing. Hope the next video comes out soon. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
All right. Very nice. Kelly, if you could read one more for us. This is from Wacko King. Wacko King, I should say, is on our Discord and stuff, and he's a good guy. What do we got from him?
Alrighty. In my opinion, I almost said, in my opinion, comma, because I do a lot of voice.
Well, Nathan, especially after Nathan was reading every emoji.
So, in my opinion, season 1 of the Animaniacs reboot was both a hit and a miss. I found myself enjoying most of the Pinky and the Brain segments more than the Warner segments. So far, the Warner segments in episodes 2 and 11 felt like they could have been segments in the original series. I would also suggest skipping the Pinky and the Brain segment in episode 8 just for the fact that Brain was poorly written. It is not the fault of the show staff. Usually reboots don't find their stride till the second season. And I hope that will be true for season 2 of the reboot.
That is a very good note to put in there, that yes, it is true. A lot of shows don't reach their stride until the second season.
And it's like, go back and watch Buffy. Like the first season was only like 13 episodes, and it was a pretty decent show, but they were still kind of finding themselves. But then season 2 hit, and they brought in Spike and Drew, and
oh yeah,
man,
I have no idea what you're talking
Love
about.
Spike.
I know we were talking about Buffy, but I've never seen it, so that's why I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
But it's an illustration of when a second season is a vast.
You see, Joey.
You see, let's talk about. Oh no, we turned into a Buffy podcast.
Yeah, I like that. That'll be our next Patreon thing.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's go to one more here, and this is from Mike Russo. Mike is the reason I wanted to make sure we closed on Mike was Mike wrote a fantastic blog that really assisted us immensely starting off our podcast, and that was Hello Nice Warners. Really just a fantastic in-depth look at each episode of the classic series.
Great screenshots too.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. And so I really do I mean, if anybody, there are a few people out there who really understand the original series, and Mike is one of them. So let's see what he wrote. He said, "Hey Nathan, Joey, and Kelly.
Hi.
As a huge fan of the original series, I really wanted to like the reboot. But the original show captured lightning in a bottle, so even as early as the first announcement, I was skeptical they'd be able to match it. Then I became less enthusiastic when I found out that all the original writers and directors, including the creator himself, were never asked to be a part of it. While I'm happy the 4 most important cast members came back and the musical score is often very good, so much of it rubs me the wrong way. Visually, the show is pretty ugly, especially when it comes to the human characters, who are drawn pretty hideous and not at all like the original series. Many of the stories are some combination of being uncomfortable, overly cruel, way too political, gross, and often xenophobic. While I don't mind showing the original series to my 6-year-old, I have no intention of showing the reboot to her for these reasons. The cute cartoon, the one with the zit, the Russian one, the bun control, the man-spreading cartoon, and the horrid Pinky and the Brain short with Julia are cartoons I'd be happy to never see again. I really hope that they find a better groove in Season 2, but I'm not optimistic. Honestly, I'd be fine if they ditched the Warners and the whole meta "we're back, love us" shtick and focused more on Pinky and the Brain. Take care, guys. Mike Russo. So thank you again, Mike, for that great email. And there are a few more things in here, but I think we'll save on to these.
We can add them on the end of other episodes. If people want to email us more, we can. Yeah, can be something
exactly. If we didn't get your email, if we still have some thoughts about whatever, then hey, we still got some time in between now and the second season. So
keep the emails coming, and we could.
Well, we are going to be starting our talks once again about the classic series of Tiny Toons and Pinky and the Brain and Freakazoid and stuff like that. And
if as news comes out, we'll release those as well. Yeah,
exactly. So we're back to, I think, some of the stuff that I really have fun going over. I'm very anxious to go over this. And our patrons are going to be the ones who are deciding which episodes of Tiny Toons and Pinky and the Brain
I get to decide the Freakazoid ones, right? Randomly pick them, right?
Yeah, you get to randomly pick them in sequential order.
Good.
Very good, Nathan.
Isn't the next one supposed to be a really good one?
The next Freakazoid is something that
they're all great though. So
yeah, but if I think Nathan and I are both like, if Kelly doesn't like this next Freakazoid, then we're really in trouble.
We'll just start doing it without her.
Yeah, like let's not put her through this torture anymore. But we're really excited for the next one. So we'll have to see what I don't know as of the time of this recording. I don't know what the next Tiny Toons episode that we're going to be doing. That's the next.
Is that what we're doing next?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll
always.
Yes, always. Tiny Toons will be decided upon by our patrons. So if you'd like to help vote, head on over to patreon.com/Animaniacast and put in your vote. Let us. You tell us what to do. We'll follow your directions there. Let's go ahead and get to our contact information. Nathan, where can people find you online?
Oh, Joey, I'm on Twitter, JangoFT, that's me.
And Kelly, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter, Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS, or email me, Kelly at BigShinyRobot.com.
All right, and as for the Animanicast, we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and of course I've mentioned the Patreon, patreon.com/Animanicast. And hey, why not send us an email? Animanicast at, should be retrozap.com, but that may not be working. Gmail.com works. And we're a proud member of the RetroZap podcast community. Head on over to your favorite podcast player, subscribe to RetroZap's podcast feed, and you'll get this podcast as well as all the other ones as well. If you'd like to discuss Animaniacs or anything pop culture with the RetroZap folks, head on over to our Discord server, discord.animanicast.com. That will be your welcome link to the Discord server. Well, that'll do it for today's episode. So for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.